Chamishosar B'Shvat Tovshin Lamed Aleph, 1971. The Rebbe went to the Oil. Now, those years, it wasn't so common that after the Rebbe would come back for the Oil, there should be a sudden Farbrengen. Later years, it was more common. But those years, it wasn't so common. But Lepeil, when the Rebbe came back from the Oil, he said there's going to be a Farbrengen. And you can imagine what happened in 770. There were no cell phones. So the only communication was by running home or going to the payphones. So everyone was running to the houses to tell the people that there's a Farbrengen. The payphone on the corner of Eastern Parkway and Kingston and the payphone inside 770 were full of lines. And it's like a ton of Tishna Venk, as they say, 770 gangen afreder. But Lepeil, they went downstairs, they prepared the place, and there was a Farbrengen. By the Farbrengen, the Teichen of what the Rebbe was speaking about is that since they give, it says in Posik, Ki ha'odam eitz hasodeh, a person is compared to the tree, and Chamishosar B'Shvat is the Rosh Hashanah for trees, and the Gemara says this goes on the Talmud Chacham, and a person who learns Torah. So obviously Chamishosar B'Shvat is connected to learning Torah. And therefore, the Rebbe said, from now on we have to start this inyan of conquering the world with Limud HaTorah, to kavish the world, to conquer the world with learning Torah, and stress the importance of learning Torah, and that should be the inyan that we should stress from now on. And for months, many Farbrengens, the Rebbe would refer back to this Sikha of Chamishosar B'Shvat, the importance of learning Torah, and he would say, V'im yod geret Chamishosar B'Shvat, different Farbrengens, many months. Some of them are even printed, little bit, mugedike parts of it, in the Sikhes, and the Hisofes of Chelik Vov, and Chelik Zayin of Chelik Ches, all about this union of learning, stressing the union of Kavish to conquer the world with Torah that started on Chamishosar B'Shvat. One of the Farbrengens later, I think it was Shabbos Parshas Tzav, which is Shabbos HaGodel. I don't remember for sure, but I think that's what it was. The Rebbe also spoke about it, and he said when the Bochrim and everyone, they should strengthen the learning Torah. But in that Farbrengen, the Rebbe told what happened Chamishosar B'Shvat. He says, Chamishosar B'Shvat, he was by the Eil. And by the Eil, tzach mir gestupt Farbrengen. While I was there, I had an urge to Farbreng, but I didn't know whether I should give in to the urge or not. Lepeil, I decided to give in to the urge, and therefore there was a Farbrengen Chamishosar B'Shvat. But since there was nothing special to talk about, Kiviyochel, I guess, that other Farbrengens, when there was a sudden Farbrengen, so then there was always some kind of special theme that the Rebbe spoke about, some kind of special Miftzah that the Rebbe came out with, something stressed, something special. But the Rebbe said here there was nothing special that he was supposed to speak about. So he said, so what should I speak about? Since the Gemara says that Chamishosar B'Shvat, which means trees are connected to people who learn Torah, and Chamishosar B'Shvat is the Rosh Hashanah to trees, so I decided to speak about conquering the world with Torah. But the Rebbe said, a while later, there was a discussion in the United States government to start drafting yeshiva bochrim to the army. And there was a big tumult. And the Rosh Hashivas and all the Rabbonim started talking, now we have to do something about it. So there was a big asifa that was through, there were the Rosh Hashivas, the Litvish Rosh Hashivas were there, and Chassidim Rebbes were there, etc., etc. And the main theme of that asifa was that we have to see to strengthen learning Torah. Since there's a gzeira against learning Torah, we have to strengthen learning Torah. And they had kindness why Lubavitch didn't participate. Which they meant was why the Rebbe didn't come to the Asifa like other Rebbes and other Gdolim came to the Asifa. I do think that Rasha Gepes went as a representative of Lubavitch Yeshiva, I'm not sure, but what they would expect is that the Rebbe himself, so to speak, should come. The Rebbe didn't mention those words, but that's the Teichen of what was. And they had kindness why Lubavitch didn't participate in this whole Asifa where we're talking about strengthening Torah. So the Rebbe says, what we did was even better. Before the Gzeira came yet, we already spoke about strengthening Limud HaTorah. The Rebbe was Magdim Refuah L'Makeh that before the Gzeira came, he already Chamishosar B'Shvat spoke about strengthening the learning Torah. So the Rebbe says they can't have tainas because we did it even more, and that was what happened on Chamishosar B'Shvat when the Rebbe Farbrengt. But the Rebbe said one thing, one heroa, so to speak, that he took to himself from here is that from now on, since he saw here that when he got an urge to Farbrengt, and he did Farbrengt, and what he spoke about was Limud HaTorah, happened to be something that was very important, that was the Refuah before the Maki, before the Gzeira. So he took the lesson from here that from now on, if I'll ever have an urge to Farbrengt, I will give in to my urge and I will Farbrengt.